Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Salvatore Bruno. Join me in discovering the mindset into fitness, nutrition and wellness, where I'll be answering your questions, interviewing the top names and leaders in the game, and of course, I'll be getting their stories on how they get motivated to become the best. You'll find it right here on Bruno Talks. Well, hello and welcome. So today my guest is a local boy. He's from Slough, and I've known this guy for a good few years. I think we just worked out that's roughly about 7 years. So it's been a while, and I've literally seen this man change into half the person that he was. He's a microbiologist, aka the mad scientist, and today we're going to be hearing his side of his journey of how he did his weight loss, why he did his weight loss, and where it all started from. So I'm honoured to welcome the legend, the AK mad scientist, Stuart, to the show. How you doing, Stuart?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you for coming on. And I guess the first question I need to ask you is, where did it all start?
So the weight loss journey started around about 2 years ago, around about my sister's wedding. And basically my wife was she joined the Slimming World group and she started to lose weight. So I thought I'll support her. You know, she was a bit of my inspiration. She was doing really well, and I thought, I'll give it a go. So I did. I didn't follow that plan. I kind of made my own plan. I knew roughly what nutrition was. So I just basically, I had to learn how to eat again. Because I've always been a big lad. I've always been that big, funny lad. Like, everyone knows me as that big guy. I just ate absolute crap all the time. I didn't like vegetables. I just ate fast food, just basically convenience food. But my problem was, I think how I got so big, because I didn't eat enough. So I was constantly picking at food. So I'd go to the cupboard, I'd get biscuits, and chocolate bars, crisps, just to fill me up, just to fill that void. And then, I wanted to lose weight, and I thought, right, change it completely. So I had to learn how to eat. When I mean learn how to eat, I mean I had to learn to eat vegetables, and I've never eaten vegetables in all my life, which was the hardest thing for me. I tried to try and work a solution. So I liked hot sauce, so I'd put hot sauce on my vegetables, and I'd eat them because it would take the taste away. Yeah. So and eventually, after about a month or two, I would remove the amount of hot sauce I was using. This is what I had to do. Some people do it differently. But this is what worked for me. I took a bit each time away, and then eventually, by the end of it, I wasn't using anything. And now I can eat all types of vegetables.
So when you said you start, how long ago did we? Because we're talking the actual journey itself. Yeah. Started how long ago?
About 2 years. About just under 2 years.
Okay, and now I know that in my kind of introduction, I said to that you're half the man. Yeah. Now, for the people that don't know you, yeah. You obviously were a lot bigger back then.
Oh, it's huge.
And so can we give, do you have any kind of description in size and kind of how much you weighed?
So weight-wise, I was about 125 kilos, which is about 25 stone. That was my heaviest. That's towards, definitely about 25 stone. I had a 46-inch waist. I had, I was a triple XL t-shirt. I had to go to special shops just to find clothes,
Yeah.
Going to find a shop called High and Mighty, which, tall people and really large people, Yeah. So I had to go to these type of shops, and, it's expensive, and, and also I put my body under a lot of stress for
of course
those amount of times, so I was a big boy.
And what made you kind of, did you just wake up one morning and just think, actually, I just don't want to be like this anymore? Or what triggered that kind of? Because I know that you were like that for all your life.
Pretty much all my life, yeah.
So what was the trigger? What kind of made you do it?
It was my wife. Honestly, that is the biggest thing for me. It was my wife. She started this weight loss journey herself. She lost 3.5 stone on the Slimming World. She done fantastically well. And I thought, well, if she can do it, so can I.
Yeah.
And I carried on, and I haven't stopped. I just flipped that switch, and and then I got addicted to the gym, and I was like, I'm loving the way I feel now.
Yeah.
I think you just have to flip that switch.
Yeah.
That is it.
And obviously we're gonna talk a little bit later about the mind side of things and the mind games and the mindset stuff. But so just to talk, so you weighed 125 kilos,
yeah.
and so now currently sitting in front of me, I mean, how much do you weigh now?
67.
So literally like half your.
Yeah, just over half. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Now that's quite incredible. I'll be putting. I will be putting links on this post, so you'll be able to follow Stuart and literally see the pictures, because it's quite incredible. So you wake up,
yeah.
you decide to do these diets, and then you start to love it.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to the food and learn how to do foods, where did you learn this? I mean, where did you find your knowledge to do the right things and the right diets and so on?
Yeah, so, there's a lot of information out online. Looked at YouTube. I looked at people who've lost weight on YouTube as well. I think there's a great guy called Obese to Beast. And he was quite an inspirational thing for me. I was like, he was run about the same weight as me. And I thought, oh, wow, this guy's amazing. Like, and I looked at him. I looked all his before and after shots, and that's what I thought, well, he can do it as well. And it is possible. I followed him. And then I looked at, like, bodybuilding forums. You see different meal plans, different ways of cooking food, getting all your protein, all your carbs, all your fats, like basic nutrition. And then I start looking at books, it's all there. Like, I work in the health industry, so you kind of know a little bit anyway how the body works. So yeah, I just picked it up by myself. I had no nutritionist or anything like that. And you learn as you go along. Okay, to be fair, it's trial and error.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you think, I don't know about that, but then you keep trying, and then actually you find something that actually works for you. Yeah. Because everyone is completely different. Everybody's different, But yeah, I just read up, just schooled up on it.
Yeah. And obviously that's quite an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
Because obviously, just going down the route of learning or losing that much weight in the first place is one thing. Yeah. But to physically learn how to do it, and I know that you did have kind of like a little bit of background of like diets and stuff, but to physically start over, knowing that your food that you were eating previously was going to be no good to your existing lifestyle. No. So knowing that you had to change pretty much everything that you ate, learn about it. I mean, how long did that take, the learning side of things?
The learning side, right? So the learning side it's a constant learning things. I'm always constantly learning. It took about 6 months really to learn fully the ins and outs of pretty much everything, because I do keep a food diary as well. I've kept it for 2 years. I know exactly how I started and now where I'm currently at. I think personally for me, a food diary helped. So you know what's going into your body, and you just keep. It's a good way to keep track. It's just that's what I needed for me personally.
Yeah. For someone who's listening, who really kind of wants to, kick off their kind of journey, what would you say if you could make yourself like a little kind of kit? What would be like your starter kit, knowing that this is what you like, this is what you need to start with, like a book, and then you have to learn this and. Yeah.
Do you know what? There's a lot of information on YouTube now. I think 100% YouTube, and there's. You can go bodybuilding.com. That's a really good site. I use that quite a lot. I use that for my calorie intake to work out what I could lose weight on. It's got a really good function on that. And just go to your local library and just have a look. There's loads of books. I
don't think people know where the local library is.
I know. I picked up Arnold Schwarzenegger's book on bodybuilding, and he's got a whole book on nutrition.
It's incredible.
It's a good book. You can learn. There's so much information out there. I mean, I use my Fitness Pal. Yeah. And they have things on that. They've got recipes on that. They've got things about nutrition, what's good and bad. But that's what I do. If I create, I just start a weight loss journey. Yeah. The first thing I bought was a weighing scale. Yeah. That's the first thing I bought, and you pick one up for 15 quid. Yeah. And it's probably it's overused. I use it for everything, even now. I weigh all my food, because you can over portion yourself. Of course. You can do that. So if you have that, it's kind of like you're halfway there. Yeah. Just generally look at yourself and actually what you're eating. Like what I did at first is I used my Fitness Pal and I scanned everything that I was eating for that day, and it was an eye opener, complete eye opener. And I was like, I was eating over 4,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
And you think you need that shock. You think, oh my God,
Yeah.
I'm eating that.
I do that to my. I do it a lot to my clients because they don't actually realise what may be in a large Domino's pizza.
Yeah.
Or they go to Nando's thinking it's a healthy meal and
Yeah.
don't actually realise how many calories is in an actual full Nando's meal.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need that shock. Do you know how many, like an average meal before you started your journey? Like how, I know you said you were eating like around about 4,000.
Yeah.
But 4,000 calories essentially is not a lot
No.
per day. But I just take it. It was just rubbish food.
It was just junk. It was just completely junk food. So I think my main meals were actually quite normal, but it's mainly a lot of meat and potatoes, fried. What my problem was snacks. So very calorie dense.
Yeah.
High. So you think Mars bars, you think peanut butter, you think, I was having Reese's Pieces, like crisps. I mean, like I'm talking grab a bag of crisps. I'll go through 4 packets of crisps. I'll have a whole tub of Ben and Jerry's. Like I was talking to one of my friends. He's like, how were your eating habits back then? And there was one time I ordered a Domino's pizza. So I had an extra large Domino's pizza, side of chicken kickers, portion of garlic bread, a 2-litre bottle of full fat Coke, and a tub of Ben and Jerry's, and I'd smashed a lot.
Yeah.
In on one.
That sounds like an absolute gem. Sounds like a feast that I'd love.
But I did that every week. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I did it every week. Without Friday night. Didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care what's going into my body. And I did that for years. I mean, years did that. And slowly but surely, it just...
Because now, I know that we're going to talk about what the next part of your journey is, but at the moment, you're obviously still aiming for your overall goal.
Yeah. So my overall goal, I'm currently 67 kilos. I want to hit 65 by the end of October.
Okay.
It's only like 2 kilos.
Yeah.
But it's the hardest 2 kilos.
I was going to say, after all the kilos you have lost, it's going to be the hardest.
It's like, I describe weight loss like a pint of Guinness. I really do. So like the white top is the easiest part. When you get down to the dregs, that's the hardest part right there, right at the bottom of that pint glass.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's going to take time. You just either you change your diet up a little bit, or you change your training style a little bit.
Yeah. Just
tweak things. It's a constantly tweaking process.
And what are you on calorie wise now? I mean, do you have different days that you're on certain calories?
Yeah, I think currently it's quite steady. So steady, it's like around about 1,500 calories a day generally.
Okay.
About 1,500. It was a lot lower than that. It was like when I first started, I thought, oh my God, I've got to shock my system.
Yeah.
So I was on like 1,200 calories, and I was on that for quite a while.
That's really low, isn't it?
That's well low. I was getting dizzy spells. I was, not functioning and couldn't really think, couldn't sleep, But I needed to do something drastic just to wake my body up and just think, actually, you need to do this. And then eventually I found 1,500 calories for me works.
Yeah.
I can function on it. I work at a fast pace anyway. It helps with my training. Okay, with my training, I can't lift as heavy, but it works for what I need it to do at the moment.
Of course. And you also monitor your macros as well, right?
Yeah, monitor my macros.
So what are you currently on now? Is it a high, as in high protein, or is it?
It's more high protein. So it's pretty much half of my macros is protein.
Yeah.
And a little bit like kind of moderate fat, but it's quite low carb. It's quite low carb for a bloke anyway.
Because I know that, with the same with kind of like people who are going down a similar route to you, kind of like to get started is probably one of the hardest parts.
Yeah.
And then essentially you were self-taught, so you're doing it all yourself. Now, the next kind of the bit that I really want to get into is, what a lot of people don't really know, is about the mental games that happen during a weight loss. Now, I've been there as well, not as drastic as yours, not as incredible as yours, but there is a lot of kind of, your mind can be obviously your best friend, but also many days can be your worst enemy. And I mean, how did that go for you?
In the beginning, when I first started my journey, I did flip that switch. It's either you want it or you don't want it. And I wanted it, and I was willing to do anything for it. But then as I was going along, I was becoming quite angry. I was quite an angry man. I was really horrible to my wife, and I've got a little son as well. I was quite snappy, and I didn't really want to know anyone. I wasn't happy for a long time, like completely. It was just a horrible tornado. It just wasn't. I couldn't see anything through the trees. I was just like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. It's affecting everything. Like my friends, my family. I'd flip over the smallest thing. Then I knew something was wrong. You know, I've always been quite clued up with my body since starting this now. I went to my doctors, you know, and I said to her, I'm not happy. I don't know what to do. I'm really stuck.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, what's gone on? So I've told her how much I've lost. She's like, oh, that, you know, it's really good. I was like, yeah, but I'm not happy. I don't know why I'm not happy.
Yeah.
You know, I should be happy with what I'm doing, but I'm not. And she's like, okay. She goes, like, do you think you got depression? I was like, I'm not depressed. I'm not. You don't, if you're not happy, you're not depressed. This could be something else, you know. She goes, right, okay, there's a couple of options. I've got like these loads of information about talking therapies. So I went to talking. So she gave me the information, and you know, and the biggest step for me is to call up talking therapies, because that one's that you kind of like in a bit of denial, like, oh right, like my calories are low, or you know, I'm not functioning because I haven't eaten enough. So the biggest step for me, I rang up talking therapies. I was like, right, this is what I've done so far. I'm not happy. I don't know what to do. I can't see myself anymore. It was just a really weird situation, and they offered me two options. You know, you can talk to a therapist, or you can have behavioural therapy. Yeah. It's like, I know how I'm feeling. I don't need a therapist to tell me how I'm doing it, you know. So I went down the behavioural route. So, you know, I go to Slough Upton Court Hospital first day. Like, I went every Monday for a few weeks, you know. And basically, it was actually quite an eye-opener. I got diagnosed with body dysmorphia. And if you think, like, I've lost over half my body weight. Yeah. My brain is still trying to catch up with my body.
Yeah. So it still sees your body essentially as it was.
Yeah. So I'm still, and some days, like, I still think, I make myself jump in the mirror because I don't recognise myself.
Yeah. Well, I don't recognise you.
Most people don't. I get double takes quite a lot as well. You know, I think that's what I really struggled with. And when we was going through the therapy, you know, was looking at different things, and basically you just take a different light at it, more of a practical light, and more, you know, I had a situation where I completely freaked out. I mean, I had a proper freak out moment. And someone, you know, talking about weight loss, and, you know, he's like, oh my God, you've changed. He's like, no, you haven't. And like, it was just a weird situation, and I completely freaked. And I spoke to the guy about it. I think someone's talking to me like, calling me like a rude name, or you've got this, you've got that. You know, when you lost a lot of weight, you are gonna get some side effects.
Of course.
You will get it. You know, I've been obese all my life pretty much. Yeah. So, you know, my skin hasn't gone back to the way I want it to. Yeah. I think that was one of the mental triggers for me. You know, you see that people point at you. Like, if I went to a swimming pool and some kid pointed at me and was like, oh my God, what's that? And that's when I proper freaked, and I was like, oh my God, I need to get out. You know, proper anxiety moment. And then I spoke to the therapist about it, and he was like, how old was the kid? I said, he must be about 5. He goes like, he doesn't know any better. Yeah, of course. Do you know what I mean? And like that little switch, I was like, oh yeah. And then you're like, ah.
Because you forget all that, don't you?
Yeah, you completely forget.
And being on that spot, you just don't, you know, you're not to know how your body's going to react, or how your mind's going to react. And your natural reaction was just to go, oh my God, someone's pointing at me. Yeah. Irrelevant of if it was a 5-year-old kid. Yeah. In your head, it was just someone pointing. Yeah.
It was like, I felt like a complete circus freak. It's just like, oh my God, I've got to get out of here. But, you know, but we've worked on it. I'm constantly working on it. I do have good days and bad days. I'm still not quite out of the woods yet. Yeah. Personally. But, you know, it's a learning process. It's all about learning about you and how you feel, you know. Yeah. I can now, like, I have good days. Like, I know I feel good in the like, I'm in a small t-shirt now. Yeah, yeah. You know.
Yeah, you look incredible.
And, like, my waist is 28. You know, I haven't been, you know, that small. But, yeah, things like that. We worked on it for several weeks, you know.
Because you've always been... And I know you from previously, so you've always been known as that jolly fella, you know, and it's the funny big guy, that kind of. And obviously, so did your wife obviously know about these kind of like the bad days, the anger days? Could she see that you're not as happy as you was? I mean, was it quite an open? Was it quite open?
At first, I kind of kept it myself, like being a bloke. Right. You kind of keep things to yourself. And then you kind of like, because you can't express it, you know, you'd snap. And like, honestly, I actually felt sorry for that little small period of time. But then eventually she started to learning about it. You know, I would show what I've been doing in therapy, you know, and and it helped me. I still keep everything that I've got from the therapy. Different ways of thinking, just like a bit more of aware.
Yeah.
You know, don't judge so quickly. But now, if I have a good day, she kind of leaves me alone.
Yeah.
She'll leave me alone, and then she'll give me 10 minutes and be like, "You okay?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Just like your space.
I need my space. Like for me, and at the time, it genuinely helped me with that. You know, I put my earphones in, hood up, I train.
Yeah.
And that would be my kind of like just my little, just getting away from things.
Yeah.
You know, and that
Little like a release valve.
pretty much, yeah, pretty much. It was that was awesome for me. I think that's why I trained so much. I was like training 7 days a week because at that time, I didn't care. I didn't care about anyone.
Yeah.
And it was horrible, you know.
And I guess that's one of the biggest things because when you're going through this, you do feel very alone.
Yeah.
Irrelevant that you've got a wife and you've got family and all that stuff. And I think there's a lot of people out there that don't understand that even though they're going through this journey, they will feel like they're doing it by themselves or the only one that's ever done it.
Yeah.
And it's quite it's good that you've come out the other side, obviously looking amazing, but also it is that there's no point you sitting here lost all that weight if you're not happy in yourself.
Yeah.
So it's good that you're coming through it all. But I mean, you've kind of found your mental strength. Mm. How hard was it to physically, look yourself in the face and go, actually, this is the new me. I need to deal with this.
Well, this is it. To be fair, that was the hardest part for me. You could stare at yourself. You still see like for me, it was like an outline. I still see that outline of that big Stuart. Then you've got to constantly look past that and think, actually, you're better than this. Yeah. Look at you. You've done so well. You've lost half your body weight. Yeah. And you have to do constant reminders of yourself, like how far you've come. You've got a family who support you. You need to think about them. And it's just certain things that have changed in my life. You're now eating properly. Yeah. It's a constant reminder how much you've succeeded in your journey. Even if it's something small. I remember the first time I went down. And it was literally that day, and I found some clothes that when I was really big, and you're like, wow, you're like, oh my god, wow. And then that for me mentally, it kind of spurs you on. You're like, actually, you're doing all right. You're doing all right, Stuart. You're not, some days obviously you do get, but at the moment, it's phenomenal. Yeah. Like, I found t-shirts. I mean, triple XL. It's a 10, literally a 10. I was like, you could put 2 of me in there now.
And I guess that's the only real time that you've noticed that you've changed so much.
And that, to be fair, that helped. And I've kept clothes just to remind myself how big I really was and how far I've come. And it's good mentally for me. Yeah. I wear a t-shirt to bed, which was a triple XL. And that's kind of a comfort thing for me.
Well, you still wear it now?
Yeah. It's a comfort thing. It's not.
Wow.
It's like I still wear it, and it just reminds me that I don't want to go back to that.
Yeah.
It's a constant reminder. So
if there is someone listening and they're going through exactly the same journey and they find themselves like, a little bit snappy, they find out that they're, they've been a little bit ratty to their other. Do you recommend for them not to to go and see someone and just to go and have a chat with someone?
I would recommend highly chat with someone. Someone impartial, someone who doesn't know you, don't judge you. Like you can talk to your partner or even your mum. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's probably not the best one.
But it's just someone impartial. They don't know you. They don't know anything about your life story, whatever you, and they're there to listen. Yeah. They are there to listen, and they'll talk you through what they think, and they will give you advice. Up to you if you take that advice, but it will help. Yeah. And that's how I see it. It helps. Like I saw this guy named Gabriel, phenomenal. It helped me massively. But yeah, there's always someone there listening. Yeah. Always.
Yeah, that's good. So I guess one question that it's on my mind is, what is the raw kind of reality of being obese?
So, like with me, I was borderline diabetic, type 2 diabetes. And I also developed sleep apnea, which is where I literally stopped breathing at night. Wow. And you've got your wife next to you waking you up. Damn. Because you've stopped breathing. And then you come out and you're gasping for breath. And that's horrible. I've got a young son. I could potentially die. Yeah. And leave my son fatherless. Who wants that? Do you know what I mean? And I love my family, and I want to be here, forever and a day.
Yeah.
But I think you need to be a good weight now. I think, it's all full of excuses. Oh, I can't eat this.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to eat this. I like drinking this. But if you want to get down to where you think you should be, because there's certain measures that I don't really agree with.
Yeah.
Like BMI, I don't really agree with that.
Yeah.
I've got friends. He's 6'7" and he's classed as obese.
Yeah.
But
well, 100% of the bodybuilders are, aren't they?
Yeah, but if you look at him, he's like 10% fat.
Yeah.
And you're like, how can you? He's healthy as a horse, but he's classed as obese.
Yeah. Obviously, we've talked about what drove you to do it and stuff like that, but we're now we know that you're going to hit your goal.
Yeah.
2 kilos is going to be the hardest, but we know that you've got it in the bag.
Yeah.
What's the next step from here? Well, what do once you've hit your goal, what are you planning to do next?
So I have small goals. I kind of set small goals for me. There's no point in setting a big one. You do small goals to the big one. I think personally, I want to help people. I want to help people with nutrition, training to a certain degree, but also the mental side of things. I think there's, because I struggled, and I think if you've got someone who's been through it, who knows exactly how you feel,
yeah,
and that's what I want to do. But yeah, I think
okay, and would you, out of the whole journey, if you were able just to literally look back, what would you say was like the biggest? If you got one, like a biggest mistake.
Biggest mistake. I kind of think at first I made a lot of mistakes. So with my diet, you try different diets and things like that. You need to stick to one. I think in the 6 months I started, I tried like 4. I think if you stick to one and because you think, oh, it's not working,
yeah,
you just stick with it. Stick with one diet that you think you can do, and then that's it. Just stay on it. You give it 6 months because it takes a long time to lose weight. Everyone thinks it's a quick, I can lose 5 stone in a month.
Yeah.
Pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
Just stick with one thing at a time. Even if it's something small, don't use olive oil in your cooking. Use fry light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take something out of your diet. Because with my mistakes, I did everything. I overloaded on protein. I went really low. I think one month I had 0 carb for 1 month. I don't know how I functioned, if I'm honest.
You probably didn't. Just getting out of bed. Yeah.
No, that was horrible. I think just stick with one diet that you feel like you can do and it's manageable with your lifestyle as it is.
Yeah.
I think that was for me. That was one of my biggest mistakes. I think changing diets constantly.
Yeah. And for someone who is literally listening and in the same boat as you were, what would be your advice for them? If they're on the fence and they're not really sure about, they can't just flick their mindset kind of thing. What would be your advice to them? What would you kind of say to them if you could see them face to face? I
would say take a step back. Take a step back from everything. Like family, work, social, and actually look at yourself, and see, and just go somewhere quiet, like literally somewhere quiet, like a park bench. Sit there and think about what you want. I was on the fence a couple of times. You think, what do I want? Do I need, and just make one small change, because it could be the smallest change, but it'll have the biggest impact.
Yeah.
Like with me, like eating vegetables, I was like, everyone thinks that's really small, and it is, but it was the biggest impact for me, and that started off my nutrition journey with it. Just a small change, just a small change.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think it's you know my theory on like small steps and stuff like that. I totally agree. I think if we looked, sat in the same room like we are now 2 years ago when you started your journey, and talked about that you were going to lose half your body weight, we probably would have laughed at each other and gone, is that going to happen? But you didn't. You broke it down into small steps, and that kind of and now the proof's in the pudding. Yeah. Probably using the wrong word there. Yeah. But you talking about puddings, essentially, you do allow yourself kind of like a reward.
Yeah,
don't you?
I do. I eat super clean 98% of the time.
Yeah.
Because things with me, if I add in the sugary snacks, I won't be able to stop.
Yeah.
So I allow myself 1 day a month. Literally, some people do 1 cheat day a week.
Yeah.
I don't. Because I think mentally for me it wouldn't work. I'll carry on.
Yeah.
Eating all the niceties. So one day a month, I'll have a cheat day, and it usually consists of cookies and donuts.
Yeah, and we talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah.
There's certain types of donuts for you.
Certain types. So my favourite donuts are donut time.
Yeah.
They are my favourite donuts, or occasionally Krispy Kreme. But generally,
Yeah.
I have that. And I'll have, like, I'll basically eat what I want. But
Yeah.
in my cheat day, I'll go have donuts and cookies. That's it.
Yeah.
That's one of my main components. And we'll go out somewhere to eat, maybe to, like, mainly meat-based, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know, I'll go to Cattlegood in Windsor, or I'll go to the Flaming Cow. And then always at the end, it's creams. Every time. Every time. It's waffles, red velvet cake, and ice cream.
And do you find, because I know that we've discussed about this before, but do you find that having it once a month is enough for you to kind of go, that's my, I just got to be good, knowing that come that month, that day, that I'm literally going to be able to enjoy myself for the whole day. Is that what mentally gets you through it as well?
Yeah, it's just that one day a month. It's not going to ruin your progress, unless, like, I can have my cheat meal, reward meal, what you want to call it, and the next day I'm back to normal.
Yeah.
You know, I'll eat my normal calories I'll eat throughout the day. You know, I feel a bit soft, but you know, you will.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like I can flip that switch. I can go from that one cheat meal a month back eating to normal. Some people can't do that.
Yeah.
But I can, and I'm quite thankful I can actually do that, because I've been so strict throughout my diet. I can do that.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing for me that I really kind of enjoyed when you said it to me was that I'm all about, you know, breaking myths, you know, not going by the mold that's out there in the industry about you must not eat this, or you can't have this, or you're not allowed to eat on certain times, or only one cheat meal a week, you know, and you've actually done it your own way.
Yeah.
You just did it that it works for you. You know, I don't know anyone that just does a cheat meal, you know, whatever you want to call it. I know there are a lot of people out there be going, you don't call it a cheat meal, but, you know, essentially to you, it's a reward day or a cheat day or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. But you are able to flick yourself back off immediately. Like, so when you wake up the next day, there's no donuts in the house, there's no nothing, it's all gone. Yeah. And I think this is where a lot of people fall into kind of like a little bit of a rut when they have stuff in the house. Where they bring it in knowing on Friday night they're having a bit of a cheat meal, but then that food is still in the house over the weekend, so then they end up picking where you don't. You know, you're saying there that most of the time you're going out to eat, it's a certain place, you know that 6 donuts or whatever it is.
Oh, it's amazing. No, it's 4 actually.
4, and then it's all gone. Just for that one day, knowing there's nothing going to be left. And I think that's the biggest kind of thing for me, where you did learn from people out there on YouTube and stuff like that, but what you did was you made it your own and made it work for yourself. And that, you know, that takes kind of like real kind of courage, because a lot of people are too scared to do their own thing, not knowing what the outcome is. And I've always said to people, if it works, it works. And you know, and clearly, you know, you sitting here now, it has worked. You've done amazingly well. You are literally half your body weight.
Literally half the man.
Knowing that come next month we'll be, you know, celebrating probably with donuts.
Yeah.
You know, your overall goal, and then essentially, you know, you do that, and then we're going to go on to the next stage, I guess, of your progress of your body, and that is then going to start to build up.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start bulking. So you know, I have to reverse diet. Yeah. I've been in this calorie deficit for quite a while. It's quite near enough 1,000 calorie deficit.
For like 2 years.
But for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I've got reverse diet. So I know I need to increase my calories slowly.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point going, you know, I'm on 1,500 back, go over like 3,000 calories just to, there's no point. You have to reverse diet. You know, and I want to I've built some muscle, but it's slower than normal. You know, I have built, and they say people, it's impossible to build muscle under a calorie deficit. No, I've literally built some. I've built muscle. I've built muscle. I want to get bigger. You know, I want to change my body composition.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go and start about 1,800 calories. So I'm gonna increase it by 300 calories.
Yep.
And I'll stay on that for about a month, maybe a month and a half, to let my body get used to that amount of calories and regulate that calories. And then I'll up it again. So it's gonna be about a 4-month period where I up my calories.
Yeah.
to where I want them. You know, I don't want to go above 3,000 calories. I think that's a bit too excessive until, you know, I'll reach where I want to reach.
Yeah.
And then I'll work out my maintenance calories myself. And just that's more of a trial and error thing, 'cause everyone's slightly different.
Of course.
So and that's where I want to, I want to try to hit, so I'm 67 now. So I want to try at least hit 75, maybe 78.
But then of muscle mass. So it's going to be a completely different journey altogether.
Yeah, so it'll be muscle mass. So, because I do like bodybuilding. I've always followed bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Even from a very young age, you know, and that's where I want to be eventually. You know, I do want to go on, step on that stage, even if it's just that one time, just to say I've done it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at the moment.
That's great. And like, if you know, for a final like kind of message out there to like the listeners, I mean, what would you know? What Stuart got to say to the listeners?
So my message is pretty much, there's always someone that, like with the mental health side of things, there's always someone listening. And if you want to start your journey, you just got to flip that switch. And what it boils down to, no bullshit, it all depends how much you want it.
Yeah.
If you don't want it enough, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I agree. And where can, you know, obviously I know that people are going to want to ask you questions and stuff like that. Where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram at madboy129.
Yep.
Just come and follow me, ask me questions. I'm more than willing to help people.
Yeah.
I want to go down that avenue anyway, give them my take on things.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook. Find me on Facebook. You know, I'm about. Just send me a message.
Yeah.
I will reply.
Well, it's been a pleasure. And you know, there's not more that I can really add to that epic, you know, conversation there. Where, you know, the difference is I can see you for what you've done. You know, sitting here losing half your body weight and, you know, and going through all the mental battles is quite incredible. And you know, the message is definitely there for all the people that struggle on any sort of journey. You know, it really is a mental game.
Yeah.
You know, your body will do whatever you kind of tell it to do. And I know that you definitely are stronger than you ever have been. Because, you know, you sit here and with incredible mental strength to just get the job done. So for everybody out there, you know, if you sit there and you're sitting on your sofas listening to this and you really are not sure if you can do it or you have doubt in yourself, you know, you're not the only one out there. You know, Stuart's here, proof in the pudding, pardon pun. But he's there proving it that you can lose, you know, and literally he is, you know, half his body weight. And, you know, he's still here now. And now what he's doing is looking on to the next goal, knowing that he's only got 2 kilos left, you know, and this is where you guys can do it, you know, so don't doubt yourself. Do it. If you think that you need to go and speak to someone as well, go and do it. And if you want to hit us up, ask us any questions or follow Stuart. And that is it for us. So thank you very much, Stuart, for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honour. And for everyone else, thank you for listening. And I'll see you all very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.